for the average person that's having a hard time with gas, I saw this article the other day. I don't know if you saw this or not. Is inflation ruining your day? Just eat lentils and let your pets die. Corporations are artificially inflating prices. Bloomberg Opinion came out the other day saying inflation stings most if you earn less than $300,000 a year. Here's how to deal with it. Take the bus. Don't buy in bulk. Try lentils instead of meat. Nobody said this would be fun. Okay? What are your thoughts about some of these things on how people are handling the rise of gas prices?
Well, if they're economically sensitive, they're going to drive less, right, and take public transportation. And the politicians are trying to ease the pain, so they're reducing gasoline taxes when they should be not doing that.
Yeah, there's talk about price controls, which is really scary. That didn't work for Nixon.
Well, no. I hope we don't go in that direction. I mean, these oil companies are coining money, no question about it. I'm doing relatively well in the market because I have 20% of my portfolio in energy. And I just tell you, look at the numbers, they're powerful.
Well, they're not making stupid investments anymore.
Well, they're afraid to because they've convinced the public, the administration has, about ESG, and that it's a sunset industry. And they, so they're afraid to make investments, so they're returning the money in the form of dividends and stock repurchase activity.
You can't blame them.
No, but I believe that this capitalist system adjusts and things will happen.
You think this is we're seeing the high with gas prices and inflation, or it's still going to continue the rest of the year?
I think it's going to continue until the Fed gets out ahead of things, or the price of energy pushes us into a recession. I think we're heading to a recession. I don't think in 2022, but I think in 2023 is a growing probability of recession, and that will bring the market down.
By how much? What are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking if when a recession hits, the market will have dropped 40% from its high. So the high was 4,800, so that'd be near 3,000, but not this year.
That's a big number right there.
Yeah, well, it's a big number, but the discussion should center around what is the appropriate multiple for the market. And when I consider the degree of involvement by the government in the system, I say an 18 multiple in the S&P is a reasonable number. Well, 18 times $225, $230 says the market's fairly valued at 4,000. The market's been kept in the overvalued territory by very, very accommodative monetary policy, and that's changing. I think Powell will be the first to admit that he made a huge mistake on inflation, huge. Biggest policy error the Fed has ever made. Okay,
absolutely agree.
And so I think that interest rates can get up to the point where it'll hit the economy. It may take another year to get there. Right now, the stock market is benefiting to some degree by we're the best game in town. They say in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, or we're the tallest midget. You don't want to invest in Europe now because of the proximity to Russia. China's big questions about rule of law, and fixed income is totally mispriced. So, the U.S. market wins by default.
As Richard Fisher used to say, the most attractive horse in the glue factory.
Okay. I have to think about that one, but that sounds reasonable.
So we had an interesting comment, and maybe Danielle can give some thoughts on this. Paul Volcker had it right. Higher rates, lower prices.
Mm-hmm. That's the cure. Mm-hmm. That is the cure. But as Lee just said, Jay Powell missed the window. And now it's going to prove very costly because he's going to have to channel, hopefully, his inner Paul Volcker. Paul Volcker purposely put the U.S. economy into recession in order to get inflation tamed, and the economy paid a price. And you have to have somebody with the spine and the Constitution to go that distance right now because the Fed is, as they say, so far behind the curve. And in fact, Senator Shelby asked Powell outright in his recent congressional testimony, "Can you be Volcker?" And Powell answered him, "I hope when history's written that the answer is yes." It remains to be seen. The Fed is only raised by a quarter of 1 percentage point. They're 700 basis points, 7 full percentage points behind where they should be in terms of tightening, and that's going to be painful in an interest rate sensitive economy.
It is very clear that Powell and the fiscal side of the economy has elevated societal issues relative to inflation as a concern.
Absolutely.
And, just remember, every recession sows the seeds of the next economic recovery, and every economic recovery sows the seeds of the next recession. You used to have recessions every 4 or 5 years. The last recession we had was 2008, 2009. He's going to try to engineer a soft landing, but my guess is we're so far from reality in terms of rates that it's not going to happen.
It wouldn't be a bad thing. We've got 20% of U.S. companies are what they call zombies. They can't service their interest expense. So recessions had been cleansing when they came around with regularity every 4 or 5. You get the bad players out of the market.
Well, they say a rolling loan gathers no loss.
If you enjoyed this short clip, click over here to watch another short clip. And if you want to watch the entire episode, the entire podcast, click here.